You're listening to Systemic Era Podcast. The failure was designed.
The silent surge of Americans ready to deliver Trump's final reckoning, based on an article by Robert Rye. Postcards against the money machine. Larry and Wendy, a Democratic couple from Galveston, spend their days handwriting postcards through Indivisible, trying to move non-voters in Texas and North Carolina. The source turns that into a small moral fable about patriotism, pain, and hope in the face of Trump. That framing is emotionally useful. It is also politically incomplete. Who actually holds power? The article identifies the real center of gravity more clearly than it admits: Trump, his billionaire backers, and the Republican political machine built around them. That is where the money is. That is where the coercive energy is. That is where the decision-making sits. The piece says Trump will do everything and anything to maintain control, and it names the kind of apparatus behind him: record spending from billionaire allies, including Elon Musk. That is the story, not postcards, not vibes. A high-dollar authoritarian network trying to convert wealth into political permanence. The sentimental cover. The older couple in a deli is good copy because it offers something clean and humane: ordinary people doing small democratic labor with aching hands. Fine, but the article uses that image to make the political fight feel evenly matched, as if civic tenderness can simply meet brute force in the middle and win by sincerity. That is a comforting myth. Postcards are not power, they are maintenance. They matter, but only because the other side has turned elections into a cash-heavy contest over attention, demobilization, and fear. The volunteers are doing democratic housekeeping while the opposition is assembling a machine. What the source gets right. To its credit, the source does not pretend Trump is confused, misunderstood, or merely polarizing. It says he is not bound by laws, norms, or patriotism, and that his aims are wealth, power, and vengeance. That is the correct vocabulary. Deliberate misconduct should not be laundered into personality quirks or political roughness. It also notes that Republican pollsters and groups are alarmed about demotivated Republican voters. That detail matters because it shows the weakness in Trump's camp is not moral restraint. It is fatigue inside a coalition that still has money, institutions, and a willingness to use both. The misdirection problem, where the piece slips, is in treating volunteer devotion as the main counterweight to organized authoritarian power. The sentimental emphasis on Larry's arthritis and Wendy's postcard stacks can obscure the actual asymmetry. One side has retirees with markers and postage. The other has billionaires, operatives, and a leader who treats law as an obstacle. That does not make the volunteers irrelevant. It makes them exposed. Democratic participation is the raw material of resistance, but it cannot be mistaken for the structure of power. If the analysis stops at the people will prevail, it skips the hard part: building durable institutional force capable of defeating a moneyed, lawless faction. The larger pattern. This is the recurring American trick. Ordinary people are asked to supply the patriotism, labor, and faith, while the right hoards money, discipline, and ruthlessness. Then the media and polite political language pretend those are comparable resources. They are not. The deeper lesson here is not that civic engagement is noble. It is that democracy keeps getting dragged into fights on terrain chosen by oligarchs and authoritarian opportunists, then congratulated for surviving at all. If the Democratic coalition wants to win, it has to stop mistaking volunteerism for power and start treating power as a thing that must be organized, funded, defended, and used. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Kiesel, thanks for listening.